وصحبه اجمعين اما بعد يقول الله تعالى في القرآن الكريم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا مولانا Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Today's discussion has a lot to do with if everybody saw that new movie on Chairman Fred Hampton, and so he was martyred in 69, I think. He has, I've done several programs with his son, Chairman Fred. He's relatively popular on the speaking circuit around the country for people that know him. And now this movie makes him even a lot more, in demand. When I look on the internet, he's automatically more in demand. But remember, here we have a certain approach, and we had been doing what we regularly do. We're always moving forward one way or another at a certain speed. But now we've went into a whole new cycle as of recently. We'll be on the road, and we'll be on the road a lot. We'll start just right around here over at Howard, over at, what is that, the Black University, and there's Bowie, and then there's a other, what about over in Baltimore? There's a Morgan. That used to be a BSU, right? Morgan State. HBC. Okay. Well, that's our target. And I'll give you the reason that's our target. It's because that's what we was waiting on. We got the message, we got everything. But when they came out with this new movie on Chairman Fred, it was a continuation of take them back to that period. Take them back to the period where there's no answers. And anytime there is some answers, like if Martin Luther King moved to Chicago in 1968 based on economic, possibilities, right? And when he did that, that's when he jumped up. He didn't jump up dead, but that's when he was martyred. Okay? So it's something that they don't like. He did two things in his time. Riverside Baptist Church, Why I Oppose the War in Vietnam. And I've been looking for 30 years, 45 years, Martin Luther King's speech on Palestine. He gave a speech on Palestine, and the black church, or the Sunday program in Kansas City that was religious orientated, played Martin Luther King's speech in 1975 or 6. And I heard it. I said, man, that brother is deep on Palestine. It was the same thing any other activist would say about Palestine. And I've been looking for it. I was at Berkeley. I tried and nobody had it. Nobody had it. What happened was, when they played it on that radio station, all the Zionists in the area swooped on that. And that must have been one of 2 or 3 copies, and they must have swooped it up and, oh, by the way, who has any more copies of this? And they told them, well, I got it from so-and-so. So they knocked that boy over. They knocked it over. I know they found some old Dr. Martin Luther King lectures in '64 when he was talking about Mandela and all of those people. You know, okay, you remember maybe 2-3 years ago they found some WPFW was playing. Okay, well anyway.
Matter of fact, they even went as far as to say that he didn't say that. That Martin Luther King, not about Mandela, but about speaking on Zionism, they tried to say, no, he didn't really say that.
No. I heard it myself. The whole penitentiary heard it because, yeah.
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Because, I heard, I went looking for speeches of Malcolm on Zionism
Right.
and Martin Luther King.
Right.
And then when you read certain literature, it'll say, oh no, that was like a myth. Like he really didn't mean that, or
Well, I could have heard it. It's just the whole Kansas City area and the penitentiary. We just all happened to hear it. It was his words. It was Dr. King. But anyway, see, we live in a unique time. So who is your target? Who's the target of the people? You can imagine we've tried everybody in this process. And there's always been a process of trying to divert you in this way, divert you in that way. So wherever you're headed, they don't want you to hit that target. Okay? Because we done talked about waiting for a sign for years, and a sign during this period, because say for the last 10 years or what have you, we've been moving, but we've been moving not in a dynamic way. We've been misleading. We've been playing around. Well, not playing, because for us, if we playing around, it's deadly for them. So we've been moving forward, but we was waiting, not waiting, but we was expecting. That's is a signal on which way to go. And it's, those signals, when you get it, you say, oh, that's it, that's fine. But when you get it, you know. And that movie about Judas, the Negro, that's as old a story as you're going to find. And it's one of the most well-known stories. Okay. And they've got clips of it. They got, when you actually start looking up Chairman Fred, you find what he said about the SDS, Student for a Democratic Society, that they was off base, and you know what I mean? And this, he was on the money. He was on the money, so we can see why it was necessary to get rid of him. But why is it all of a sudden such a big deal to pump out J. Edgar Hoover and have a big star playing J. Edgar Hoover and all that? It's because of the same myth. Is that cool air coming out of there or hot air? Yeah, but anyway, look at what's going on. A generation, is that warm or cool? That generation right now, you got to look at the generation right now. They got a whole new generation of young black people that are swallowing that up. Although they're doing, it's good film and they're showing what happened, But remember, it takes you away from the future and take you back to the past. We talked about that for forever. Always focusing back there. Keep them back in the past, right? Keep them unorganized. So if the people, no matter how organized and developed they are, think about all the things that we've just seen in our time in the last few, think about the Black Lives Matter. That's the biggest hoax in world history. And remember, our Iranian friends was trying to tell us, wanted us to say different. Oh, how wonderful. I said, look, man. I mean, I had to really, the second visit from a friend of mine from there, he came, he had his notebook and everything. We met down there in Fort DuPont Park, I guess. When you drive through the middle, there's a garden over here, and then you go that way. Well, we parked down there in that picnic area. We talked for hours. And every now and then he would close his book up, his notebook up, because I was not saying what he wanted me to say. And I actually got very firm after a while. I said, forget about that being valuable. That's misguidance. Those are good people. But the ones that's sending them, they're sending them in the wrong direction. In fact, remember we had the police stop us down there and do that video. You still got that on? Okay, we got that. We got what we was doing down there at front of the Congress. And remember the police, the black police that drove by and gave us salam, they didn't have no frown on their face or nothing. You know what I mean? It's as though they knew something and they were saying, yeah, do you remember the look on their face? They wasn't like, yeah, you're troublemakers, that type. There wasn't none of that. It was like, hey, something's going on, and whatever it is going on, y'all got a piece of it for sure, if not the whole thing. That's the way they appeared, okay. The lawnmower guy come by making all that noise and then went on back up to the White House, wherever he went. But, okay, see, it's good. We got everything on, we got the stuff down there at in front of the White House when, remember the big old white boy? First they going through their thing, and then remember the police come over there by us. And they're there with us. And when we talking, when you look at them police, especially the black ones, they're beginning to think there's something makes sense here. You know, and we're talking about, yeah, I can imagine, because we're talking about the white boy come out. And remember before, he was always there, like he was on our side. That's great, that's great, da, 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 da. So we already know who the police is, because we know when people come to us, if the leaders of the chit-chat group or whatever they are, whoever's controlling the march, don't pay no attention to us, right? Or they're avoiding us. On all of those things, why avoiding us? What's up? You know, especially when we got a bullhorn there and we're giving out good advice.
Yeah, they would actually pack up. But one of the times we set up out front, this reporter actually packed up. They packed up this stuff and left.
They pack up and that's gone. That's gone. That's it. Okay, we know that. We've been doing this for so many years that now we're at the time. It's like if we were to bring out this old flyer right here. You remember this one? Up here we say, Major Nadal Hassan, victimized human target of modern science fiction style psychological warfare. We had said very clearly that this guy was treating the people coming back from Iraq. And the government know what they're doing. They're going to send him all the super basket cases. And they're going to be telling him stuff like, yes, I stuck my rifle in this woman's vagina and blew her head off. You know what I mean? That's going to What's going to happen to him? He couldn't take it. After a while, no matter what level of his Islam was, this stuff grew and grew, and they set him up. That's why we call it, this is science fiction management stuff that y'all did to him. He's a victim. Or you got a dumb army. Who would be stupid enough to put a Palestinian in part of the cycle stuff coming back? And he's a Palestinian. Right? He's the same religion as they are, the same basic racial characteristics. And he would have to be the biggest stooge in world history not for that to affect him. And they hitting him every day with it. He's getting a whole 50,000 basket cases of people who are remorse, and they mind, the stuff they did is working on them. And they're telling all that to him. And to me, they're doing it on purpose. We said that when this was way back over a decade ago. That's what we said. Then Imam Luqman infiltrated and trapped, sabotaged, and assassinated. That's what we said about Imam Luqman. Okay. Not that anybody was listening or, When you went to the janazah, they didn't even take up Can you imagine? And it was 2,000-3,000 people there. Can you imagine how much money, if they just gave $10 a piece, that'd be $30,000. Yeah, that would help take care. I had to send money to his wife. She's back in Tanzania. But you know what the Negroes said? They put out a rumor that I was trying to go with her or she was trying to go with me. If she walked in the door right now, I wouldn't know who she was. I've never seen her. But when she got in touch with me, I mentioned it in Juma or something, and they needed a headstone. Those people up there didn't even, an old mushmouth Negro gave the janazah, the old Muslims. Now, I ain't gonna call his name. You know who I'm talking up there. What do they be thinking about? What do they be thinking about? I think they tried to get Siraj, but he wouldn't have did no better because they're not thinking. I was out in California, I'm sure I was, because that's right, I got the call. But it was too late for me to get there. The way they do stuff, the rumors they put out, Imam Musa was hitting on the lady called me and said, my husband doesn't have a gravestone. I said, how much money do you need? She said, $1,100. I said, it was in the zoop, there it is. But the other thing is that you just hold on too. I know that, are the people helping y'all up there? No, okay. I never got a chance because boss man could see what was going on. So that was one of the heaviest times for our income. It was right after that, because finally they sent her back to Tanzania, and she would call from time to time. Now by then I could hear a male voice encouraging her on. But it wouldn't have made me no difference. I'd have sent them some money anyway. Just didn't have it. Okay, but anyway, here we had the Muslims oppressed, invaded, set up, ruled by Western puppets, waterboarded, kidnapped, illegally held in detention, targeted killings, 60 years of living in refugee camps, the list goes on. But up here is when we get to what we was talking about. positioned as the first Afro-Zionist president. Believe it or not, it sounds like I made it up, but you know who said that? Dr. Hamid Algar. We had a program at UC Berkeley, and he said it. It just eased off. They wasn't paying no attention, but I said, "Hey, look at here." I said, "That's mine now. You know, that's mine now." Afro-Zionist. Yes, he's. You know how Dr. Algar. He just. You know, it's not riveting the way he talks, because he will put you to sleep. You have to splash yourself with water and stuff. He's a professor. And so, but that one, he was talking about when we was in Iran together years ago, and Tehran had snow, so we had to wait, and we landed in Shiraz, which is good warm weather, and we was walking down the street and everything, and we was together. But see, Dr. Algar and I was actually friends. You know what I mean? Not only he spoke at our masjid all the time, but he's at Berkeley, like right across the street almost in Oakland. So we was really okay. Now, we have also known as Bush 3, also known as Judas Goat. Now, that was the name of the movie about the right? And I've mentioned what a Judas Goat is, but a Judas Goat is a goat that when they got it getting ready to take the goats to slaughter and everything, the Judas Goat goes around, collects them all, and maybe he got a little bell or something on, and he goes in through the pen, and he brings them all with him. They follow him. That's why he's a Judas Goat. But down at the end, they got a trap door that only he can get out of. He's the only one who knows it's there. So when he goes and get out of the trap door, all the other lambs or sheep, whatever, they all go to slaughter. They go to slaughter. So that's why they call him a Judas Goat. Okay, so this thing that happened with Chairman Fred was clearly the behavior of Judas that sells people out. Okay. When I saw the movie, I actually liked the movie, but I said, okay, now this is our time. What do I mean this is our time? All the black people and going to the universities, they're going to see it. So we might, in fact, if you could download it, you know, some kind of way, we'll put it on a DVD and make it part of our package. Because starting right away, even within a week or two, we're going to go to we're going to get a package together. The package together will be a few things that make a little sense, and we're going to go and pass them out at these BSUs. But we're going to also make ourselves available to speak on the subject. Because remember, what they're being fed, by the time they digest it, right, it'll be like the last 50 years. They're already there to cut their throat, to get them to join the FBI, to get them to, right? That's what they, at all, man, the black universities is, hey, man, I'd be scared to go on campus almost. They got so many police there. You go to the Muslim programs, they got the big sign there. Shh. We need languages. You speak Chechen, you speak Dari, Pashto, Arabic, all that. Yeah, you need it.
Not only that, what they're doing is they'll come out with something else, and now everybody's not even talking about that. Now they're talking about Billie Holiday. They didn't come out with a movie about Billie Holiday.
and Billie Holiday and what they did to her in 1930, the police, the head of the Department of Dope, whatever it was, hated her. And you know J. Edgar Hoover, he probably turned over every night 3 or 4 times because of her. You know, okay.
So people they'll forget about Fred, and then now they'll focus on her, and then after her, you just.
We're going to stop the cycle. In fact, if you got clips of that, we're going to make a package. It is got a little warm in here. We'll make the package. Okay, now in that package, it's a package designed for basically black students. Basically at the university, you know what I mean, black college level, junior college or university, because time is precious now. So if we're going to harvest, we have to go where the plants are still alive. And they have them collected all around the United States, especially in the South. And well, this is still the South. All around here, some in the Midwest. And I think on the West Coast, they didn't turn them into, they're like, I don't think it ever was any on the West Coast. In California, okay, yeah, Texas is different. Remember, yeah, Texas, I've been, but remember, Texas is Dixie. Texas is Dixie, but I think by the time you get to New Mexico, Arizona, they don't have those. But Texas, you got a big crew. But now, see, for this period, that's our period for making the people aware of the patterns of behavior. We not only got the Billie Holiday statement, right? We not only got this Chairman Fred syndrome, but we got the whole Black Panther Party. And now here's what I'm going to do. Between this picture and between this picture, this is Sekou Dinga. Okay, I'm going to talk to Sekou, but see, when they let him out of prison, the lawyers didn't get him out. He worked out, and I went up to see him. People said I was the old habit of dropping off something, but technically, let's say I just stumbled into him, because I think it's against the law for them to meet with people that's been convicted. But between him and Pete O'Neill, they're the only ones around that we have access to right now, that we were together doing this thing. And they're the only ones that know what my position was. You see what I mean? In fact, they're the only ones, not in the world, but as a financier, nobody knows anything about an African-American financier. They know that they had white ones that fund white groups, you know, but nobody knows that it was somebody that went, and the only one that knows about it, first of all, was Pete, because Pete was head of security. So when I came there and I talked to him after a while, I said, well, I brought a little something with me. So he counted it out and he turned it in. Okay. So the idea from Eldridge was, yeah, Big Hank came here throwing big money down, and some of y'all wanted to go with him. Well, some of them did want to go. because it made more sense. You know, I talked to them and I said, you can't go down to the Rue de Douche Morad buying hashish every day. You can't do it and have revolution. And the only one that would do any physical fitness with me was Sekou. We used to play basketball 4 or 5 times a week. And you can't get in no better shape than one-on-one basketball. Shoot, we was in super shape. Of course, I ran. You can imagine a Negro running up and down the beach in Algiers, you know, swimming trunks on, and like he's carrying a rifle. You know, I did it every day, you know. But, you know, when you're young, you may not have as much sense as a lot of people think you do. But this also, I have to tell people what this is, because they don't, this got everybody, when I took this is 68. They're killing everybody. You know, I mean, they're technically, that's the worst year we ever had as far as the black movement. This same year they got Dr. King and all that. 68. So I said, man, this is serious. So this is all the free Huey buttons, the regular, you know, this is the regular style, except my clothes is more expensive than the other guys you see, you know. And I got a 5-inch crown instead of a 3-inch crown. They just wearing them low, almost flat-headed hats. You know, this is, you can tell that's a little taller. It's not just stuff that, you know, that's going on, and I'm just saying it ain't no big deal. And it's a 5-star beaver too, you know, not the poor beaver had a, you know, that's what they used to make hats out of. Anyway, I looked at it like this is getting Negroes killed, right? So this is 1 year later, right here. This is a disguise. I mentioned this before. This is a disguise. It's a disguise. It's a sharp disguise. But you will drop their attention level if you, and that's who I want you to contact. You know the guy Emery? Right. If you could find, he might still be in Oakland. I don't know where, just some kind of way. And I want to find out if he have any pictures of Big Hank. He lived in East Oakland too. He had to know me. I don't know him. You know what I mean? But their office, if I showed you old, but you know I'm losing pictures. Like all the pictures and outfits with black on, that stuff done disappeared a long time ago. I got lucky and did one of these, and this stuff don't make a whole lot of difference. But here's the point. What is the goal? The goal is to saturate our young people with a true history of what's been going on. Remember we had the thing on Hubert Harrison? And what was Hubert Harrison's problem? He was too black, right? He was too black, and his message, it would be us in the 20s. If we were in the 20s, right? That's what we would be. Giving out the message, but if it was socialism, it would be socialism with a totally black leaning to the problems that black people have. And when you read about him, you could tell that that's the reason he was shunned. By who? Everybody. Hey, man, and he was with Garvey. They's both from the islands. But pretty soon, he was technically shunned by everyone. Okay, when you look around now, just looking at pictures. There's no Negro in town that's got pictures with all the white folks, dancing and carrying on, because none of the black, if they was slick, what do they want to be around white people for? If they was black, our cultures didn't mix. But there's somebody that had enough intuition to know that one of my favorite songs, it didn't sound that good, but it was a favorite song. If you go to San Francisco, be sure to wear some flowers in your hair. That was indicative of where they was coming from. That's why for them, revolution is dancing and having no clothes on. That was their revolution. Because their fathers was all working in the government and was killing everybody, and they knew it. They said, I don't want to do that. I quit. And you talking about some mad white folks? Hey, they'll kill their own children. Some of them will rescue their children and protect them from the. But there's enough of them monsters from those days to knock their own children. You're gonna be with them niggas and all this other stuff too. We ain't gonna do that. You could see if they have the key there, if they have. So anyway. All right. So anyway, this is right. This is what was going on. Okay, so now what we have to do is educate the people. We'll start with the young. You know what I mean? We'll start with the young and we'll get with them. We'll make talks and what have you, and we'll make sense out of this. See, nobody's making sense for the last 40, 50, 60 years. They might know nothing have happened since Dr. King, right? But they don't know why. They're looking right at this stuff, but they don't know. Even a lot of the young kids and got these old videos of a Superfly, the Mac, right? Did you see them?
I had friends.
Yeah.
I had friends like that I grew up with.
Yeah. Yeah, they were acculturated with that stuff. Okay, we have to educate the people on what that was. You see what I mean?
Right, yeah.
We were there, and we believe it was technically, about us. But we actually know it was. We know it was, and the people, when you tell everybody, oh yeah, that's what that was about. Because just to be brief, Superfly himself, he got away with $150,000, and he wanted to stop doing what he was doing. And his partner didn't, and so when he was getting ready to make his moves, his partners had turned him, went to boss man and told him. But his old connection, Scatter, whatever his name was, they hooked up. He gave Superfly all of the information that what was going on before. So they assassinated his old connection, Scatter, because he said, boy, you want to get that big, you know what I mean? You getting up into area. I was talking about Superfly when he's asking Scatter, his regular connection, to hook him up big time. He wanted 25 keys. So Scatter was mad, walking around the restaurant at the cooking place. Finally, he said, I'll do it. But he was trying to tell him, you don't know what you're getting into. So when he hooked him up and he got good size, then the police intersected him. So it was clear, all the cocaine that they captured or what have you, that's big money in New York. So, long story short, he wants to be a good guy. And he got all the information on all of them. So he finally has it out with them. They kill, scatter, OD him in a Rolls Royce of all things, you know. And then Superfly leaves. And there was a certain amount of money involved. And Superfly escaped with his woman and $150,000. Okay, so when all the news come out, everybody realized that Big Hank got away too. And he had $150,000. But the movie came out after he left, not before. So somebody was monitoring who, and what would Gordon Parks know anything about? He was a cameraman. What would he know about that lifestyle? To write a whole script, right? What do you mean? You got that much insight into the game, right? That you make a blockbuster movie. That's insanity. That's insanity. But anyway, that whole series of movies was technically about one person. They made a mistake on Superfly TNT. Tain't nothing to it. That's what it's supposed to mean.
Is that right?
Tain't nothing to it. Yeah, Superfly TNT. It's a little corny. It's colored too. It's very. Tain't nothing to it.
I have the album at home.
Yeah. That's what it means. That's what it means. But look at number 2. Number 2, he's in Africa, and everybody here is seeing. It even looked like they put the light on it, so it's the things are lighter and brighter. You know what I mean? And it's like what we felt when we went back to Africa.
That's exactly what they did. He was leaving darkness into light. That's what he did.
Look at here. Now the other thing is, when I was in Tanzania, have you ever heard Ahmed Babu? Ahmed? Yeah, that's his name. Ahmed Babu. With Malcolm in his thing called, This is a Revolutionary. All right. Now all the black people they would refer to Babu. Kofi Bashar I was living with him for a while in Tanzania. In Algeria. Dr. Kwame Nkrumah had got put out. And when in Africa, when the crew you with gets put out, everybody got to go. They don't have to save over nobody. In fact, you might have to run out. So Nkrumah was in, he might have been in Egypt because his wife was from Egypt. Nkrumah's and his kids is yellowish like Kwame Nkrumah. He married an Arab woman. Yeah, the kids speak Arabic too. The kid is 70, 80 years old now. But he married an Egyptian woman. Because remember at that time, Egypt would educate different people. So he married an Egyptian woman. She was a nice lady. And so a lot of the people, when they would get heat, they would go back to Egypt, although Nasser was strong on nationalism but not no Islam. So Nkrumah and them didn't have nothing to do with no Islam hardly. Okay. Watch out though for Ghana. Ghana's got Negroes moving back by the zillions. They're in trouble. It's sad. It's boy, I'm telling you, it's sad. Even people that was here. Muhafiz is over there now. Because his wife went from the islands. Gambia? They're not in Ghana. Good, great. They can't do too much harm in Gambia. Somebody told me they was in Ghana. I'm glad it's Gambia. Very glad. Okay, let me continue the story. So the trend goes like this. When I went to Black Africa, Kofi Bashar, last I heard he was in Long Beach because I gave a talk at, my family go to the biggest church in Oakland. So when there's someone dies in the family, I usually give a little talk too along. It's a Christian church, but everybody knows that I usually give a little talk. So when my brother-in-law passed, I mentioned some song from Mahalia Jackson's time, and there was a guy in the audience. He was one of the assistant preachers. He was from Ghana. And I said, well, when I used to go to Africa and different things, so when the funeral was over, that part, he said, what part of Africa? I said, Algeria. He said, I said, where are you from? He said, I'm from Ghana. I said, oh, you know, one of my friends I used to live with, his name was Kofi Bashar. He said, you know him? I said, yeah. I've seen him, I not only lived with him in Algeria, he came to Tanzania and lived there. And he said, well, right now he's in Long Beach, in California. He's a little ill. And he's from that generation that graduated in 1956 from University of Massachusetts, something like that. So anyway, he was a press secretary for Kwame Nkrumah. And so through these strange type of contacts, I'm assuming that he's passed away now, because that was, it's been 12 years since my brother-in-law passed away. 2007, what is this 2007, 2017, it's 10 years plus 4. Goodness gracious alive. I'm sure he's passed away by now. But anyway, the point is the historical context. There's nobody alive now to give people that context and show them where they was misled. Whether in books, whether in movies. And Superfly TNT, you know why they came out with the Mac the next year or 2 years later? Because where was the whole thing was, I live across the street from the mosque, right? So in the last day when Superfly is all beat up trying to find his way, and he hears the adhan, and the adhan is taking him to where he should go. Because that's what it's, you can hear him say clearly in the movie, I live right across from the mosque. So that adhan, and remember in Superfly TNT, remember they got a big picture of, I would say it was an Eid, probably in Nigeria. Yeah, I didn't see it. I didn't see that on the street. I saw it up at McNeil Island. You know what everybody, when we come out of the movie, it's a nigga, they give you any royalties for all of that? Nigga, you ain't getting no royalties for all of this stuff? I said, no. Because I was, everybody, all the gangsters knew what it was. It was just clearly Superfly. Well, you going to try to straighten them white folks out, and they run you off for it, didn't they? That's what they do to your behind. They run your butt off, right? Which is actually true. And then I go and I hook up with Ahmed Babu and all them guys. Those are people When I left here, I didn't even know who they was. I was too busy gangsterizing and Negro rights through money. Doing a good job, but I didn't know who they was. Oh, you're a big shot. Okay. And I didn't know who Ahmed Babu. All I knew was I found out after I got to Tanzania because I had my passport. I had a letter. Man, I should have. I had a letter from Kofi Bashar to give to, you know, where they all hooked up. I didn't know that all the African Americans was focusing on Babu, Ahmed Babu, that he was, you can see him in books and everything, right? That's why they was going to him. I didn't realize who he really was until a long time later. You know who I realized who he was? When I went back to Africa in '73, Pete O'Neill told me, he said, Babu had a job for you, or a position for you, you know. Because I went to his office, the State House, and I said, well, here's my passport. Of course, it's phony. That ain't me. But I'm not going to do anything. You know, you're just letting the official know that I'm here kind of, you know, on the move, you know, and this is my situation. But I don't intend to do nothing what they say. And it was fine. Now, what I didn't know is that before the rebellion, on the island of Cloves, which is Zanzibar, where he was from, see, the part of the administration was a combination of Zanzibar and Tanganyika, and they called it Tanzania, right? Now, the island of Cloves, there was some smugglers. And it's just what I heard. I know it's not true. That what's her name used to be a smuggler. Not Babu. But I mean legal smuggling, not not like dope or nothing like that. But it's the Isle of Cloves. It could be clothes. So when everybody told him, it's probably just made up stuff like that, you know. Okay, if the white man can't say you do it and he's occupying, he's a colonial oppressor, then anything you do to get rid of him is legal, right? Yeah, so it's legal smuggling. He just says it's illegal, but he don't have the right to say that in your country. But anyway, I'm telling you, the brother said, Babu had a job. This is what Pete, you could call Pete now. In fact, we got to get recontacted with him because he said, he had a job for you or something. Anyway, the point is this. There's a few people alive. Pete is still alive. Sekou is still alive. I'm still alive. So we have to coordinate this effort now. You know, I'm going to get started right away. But what I want to coordinate with them is when you're helping out under the cover, nobody knows what you're doing except a couple of people, right? Everybody, you're not telling them. In fact, when the police found out that I was helping out the Negro movement, shoot, that's when the heat really got on. They said, long as nigga driving around wearing this stuff and talking crazy, you do that all for the rest of your life. Well, until we get tired of you, want to bring in somebody new. But supporting the movement with bona fide reality, which is money, we can't have that. No, sirree. Not as much money as the Negro. So when I offered this to everybody, They disagreed. Of course, when we went outside, everybody agreed. Because it was, see, I'm telling them, no, we're going to be doing cocaine. Okay, for them, there's not that they down with weed and stuff like that, and they probably slip around a little cocaine, but they don't know that there's a distinct difference between heroin and cocaine. Heroin, when you get hooked on heroin, you gotta have it, and you're gonna be broke soon. Okay, if you're a big entertainer and you snort up all of your money in cocaine, you just, when your money drifts away, you just start singing better and doing, you can get, you haven't destroyed yourself, right? That's the difference between cocaine and heroin. Cocaine is psychologically addictive, but it's not physically addictive at all. Different story with crack. Freebase and crack, they're different. They are addictive. They make the addiction with heroin look like, but that wasn't going on in our time. So when I moved to South America, I did what I did, and I came back to Africa. But when I came back loaded with, with assistance. The only thing is, when I went to Algeria, nobody's there. And they didn't kick them out. So I said, well, I sent a lady back to California, wherever. Haven't seen her since. Then I went to Tanzania that I knew. And it just so happens that some went to Zambia, some went to Tanzania. And Pete was in Tanzania. Just so happens that I knew Pete better than all of them. So he gave me the whole rundown. That's why he told me, he said, PUSSY got us kicked out of Algeria. Not Arabs didn't like us because we was black and stuff like that. You got women with niqab, and you niggas is running around. They got niqab on for a reason. It don't take a whole lot of brains to figure that out. But they didn't get it. They didn't get it. They just thought, this is a big achievement. I said, boy, y'all just don't get it. Y'all don't. Now, I was one of them, semi-Muslims, But I had some sense that they got to be wearing that for some. Wonder why they wearing it? It's got to be a reason that they covering up everything. They peeking out a couple of little holes up here. Why are they doing that? Maybe they don't want nobody to see them. Definitely they don't want you under their clothes, right? Oh, but that was just enticing to the Negro. He couldn't. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So anyway, that's what happened. So we got that period. We are now. I'm going to be busy on this. This is my project, what I'm on right now. Whether I get help, whether I don't. So there's some things that we need to do. Number one, we need to fundraise right now. So that's what, I'll be around. I'll probably maybe do the rest of this year or a good 7 or 8 months just on the road. And I'll go to California, of course. And then is to focus on the black colleges and black universities. So if I'm in California, I'll go to the city colleges and all of that, and some of the semi-revolutionary, we'll go where it's a big black student union, and we'll just go to the student office and tell them, da 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 da, and we're available to see. Here's what I'm saying: all the people that's available, like right now. Last time I spoke at UC Berkeley, guess who invited me to speak? Sheikh Hashim Alauddin. He's in our masjid. He's the same one that said you couldn't melt a black woman and pour her on it. And he had Malcolm's book, teaching Malcolm's book to the students. They had a big program up there, February 23rd, a few years ago. And he invited me. He did say the closest thing to Malcolm that he had seen is me. But remember, those people that are the spokesmen to all the students, why you think they're there? They're there misleading them. That's why nothing has happened. That's why we're not welcome anywhere. Because all the people, that's their job, to mislead the black students about Islam and about life, but make it sound good. Those people, wherever I go over the last several years, everybody is either Zayd or what's New York people. Anybody but Musa. Anybody but Musa. And technically, Musa's the only one that helps, it seems like, the people in general. They start 2 organizations. The first one was Manna. That's the most Uncle Tommy's crew I ever seen. And they spent money. They had a program in Philadelphia, and it was $300,000 for the, you remember that Philadelphia program? Yeah. Well, we should have helped them out, because when we sent our crew here from D.C., the brothers told me it stole the show. So they didn't have any more of those. That's it, finished. Because if we had spent $300,000, which is insanity, they had a program like foreigners have. Siraj rented, what's that big, Madison Square Garden? It cost $450,000-$60,000. He would have to raise $1 billion to break even. Can you imagine? I said, man, what happened was we copied the foreigners instead of doing things in our own way, right? And if you were talking too black, the foreigners would not invite you. They stopped inviting me years ago. Not only the good foreigners stop inviting you, this organization, but even our friends stop inviting us. Yeah. But we're going to fix that. So anyway, here's the whole idea. The idea is that we need to help and refocus our people on reality. And with Allah's help, that's what we're going to do. It's got to be the right thing, because I done got phone calls already this morning trying to get me to go somewhere else. Yeah, the people, Boss Man is on, look, Boss Man ain't wasting no time. But Boss Man is finished. Boss Man, talking about bite the dust, Boss Man and bit the dust. Boss Man in so much chaos and buffoonery, either laughing stock, people are praying for him. Other Europeans are saying, Boss Man, please get yourself together. You know, like you have a son or a daughter that get a dope habit, or they go crazy, and you praying for them, please. Oh Lord, help this child. That's what they praying. The Europeans, everybody, they praying for boss man. They're saying, boss man, you got to tighten it up. But anyway, the whole series of events, the whole series of what we call modern reality has put it for this point. Like if, say, we've been waiting for a sign. That don't mean we just sitting around waiting for a sign, flipping coins up. No. But what is it specifically that we're going to do? Who's the target? Right? Okay, for us at this time, there's all gain and no loss. If we don't get anything from it, we don't lose nothing. And it's an opportunity to reach our youth. With that as a basis leading to Islam. So if we help this way without saying it's Islamic friendly. You see what I mean? But we're going to the people because they're the ones, they're the target, and they don't know, they think, oh, something happens to black people all the time, police don't like it. It's 50 times deeper than that. Remember all the 300 new FBI agents when they brought down the Soviet Union? Who's the next in line? Black gangs. Can you imagine? You got to think about that. Black people, Russia, big bad Soviet Union, the Bolsheviks are number one in the world with all of their super energy and atomic 100 megaton, but they're pretty bad. And the Negro is number two. Wait, hold it. And they don't know it, tell the truth. They think there's some oppression here, the police, the bad police, not the good police. There are so many good police, it's just a shame. I don't find them, but they seem to think they're there. And these good police be shooting the Negro down. You know, this is worse than in slavery time. The police was set up to capture slaves, but not to shoot them. Even up until our time, we could fight physically with the police. There was no, they didn't, down in Dixie, they might shoot a few Negroes here and there. But they just lynched people mostly. Or they put you in the system to work you to death on them chain gangs. You know what I mean? But if they shot you, they gonna put on the chain gang, right? And they cut off their money because they gonna get 50 cents a day. They gonna give a quarter to the county, the sheriff, of course, and the Negro ain't gonna get nothing. He ain't gonna get a nickel or nothing out of it. He's just gonna work on them. Can you imagine you're chained, and getting worked to death and don't get nothing for it? Okay. Oh no, you didn't do nothing. You got picked up, you're going to jail, buddy. And they got no reason, they need workers, they need hands. Yeah, they need hands, so you're going to jail. Well, what did I do? You just had a bottle of a little bit of wine. They just can't have wine, You got to keep society safe. And drugs, cocaine makes Negroes fiend over white women. These people are so silly. Man, the way they did look, if we don't see, you got to look at it like this. Who's making a comprehensive picture that's digestible for the people? Nobody. We have to put all of that. It's simple, but nobody's going to put it to our students. If they go into the university or to a college or even a junior college, they upward mobile, they want to be something, and they know they're starting somewhere. Okay, so this is our first target. And we're going to hit the north, the south, Well, after Texas, we skip over all the way to California, and we'll do what we can. Because out there's concentrations of blacks that still go to, they don't call them BSUs out there, or whatever they call them. But there's concentrated of black and Latino. So in California, we're going to mix this up. Then we'll roll a few words out in Spanish, and they say, oh, this boy been around. And I'll ask everybody what town they from, whatever, and I know their town. You from where? Oh, man, they'll be shocked. And we'll help unify this dynamic population in America. Now, the old group, our group is getting old and going to the happy hunting ground, but that whole young group, right, they are arriving now. They're arriving, and we're gonna associate our efforts with them. Also, what that does is it breaks the grip of whatever boss man wanted to do, we can do it. Now, in the meantime, as number 3 on our list, we're going to attack the courts, and we're going to get, what our money is. In fact, they're hinting at it, all the time now. Come get your money, So they do something all the time to try to get me to run back there, to Oakland. Why? Because we know what we're in, but we know they're impatient. They're not built for I don't care whether it's business, what they got to get their results right away. They got to get their results right away. They can't do like China. China and this Belt and Road, they'll get it back way back when. China is 4,000 years old as a functional civilization, right? So they got patience. Everything they do is patience orientated, I asked the Chinaman down there where we used to get us, I said, how do you say patience in Chinese? He said, you wouldn't understand. I said, give it a try. He said, well, there's a dagger over your head. And he said, that's what patience is. So, do you get it? I said, I get something. But you got to take it easy. You got a dagger over your head. You know what I mean? If you make the wrong moves, you're in trouble. I know that much. Right? And so you got a lot of figuring to do anyway. I believe that this is where all of this was leading to. All of what we've been doing, all of this period, has been leading to this. Because everything that, like if you look around at our property and everything, things are in a type of deterioration. But it's slow deterioration, and it don't take nothing to fix it back up. It have been maintained reasonably for all that time. You got to remember, we've been here by ourselves almost for 10 years, right? So that means that we're not doing too bad. If anybody else would have been by themselves, for the fact, nobody else not only they don't have this much property. Okay, so we pay the taxes. Not only that, but when we get our property back in California, when we do the things that we need to do and want to do, we're going to be in pretty good shape financially. But better than financially, we got our focus on who we're going to, no matter what kind of job we do, whether it's a brilliant job or the day-to-day routine, that's what we're going to do. That's the important thing. That's what we do. Because there's a generation out there that need rescuing. And when there's generations, you have to choose. This is simple choices. Can you get the older generation? Well, they probably, where you going to get them at? Well, you got to go to the church to get them, okay. Well, where else? Well, you got the young people. Where are they at? They're at the university. They're at the colleges, right? Junior college, all of them is fine. And for them to be there, they have to have a certain, you know what I mean, behavior pattern. Just to be in college, they done missed a whole lot of traps. You know what I mean? Just imagine, just to be in college as a black person, and talk about a black male, look, they got traps, it's like probably like fish hooks and stuff. You just going down the way, right? And they got this, they got that one, they got that one. And for you to come out on that end, at a university, at a college, you done missed 10,000 traps already. You don't know it, but inside of you there's some aversion for traps. You know. And it's natural. So we are going, that's, because you got to, at a certain times, you got to figure, what are you going to do specifically? Now, at one time, you could read masjid, schools, business, geographical integrity. Okay. Then what happens? Boss man come in. Not boss man come, boss man been there all the time, don't worry about that. Boss man is going to be on the scene. But my feeling is this, is that during this period, I think what we're doing is so honorable that I think it's going to have an effect on boss man's people. I think it's going to have an effect on it. If it do, it don't make no difference because we're going to do that anyway. Because boss man has already showed his fangs to everybody, and boss man and let everybody know that if this ship goes down, first people we throwing overboard is you, the Negro. Everybody already know that, right? He ain't letting everybody know you and your children are going for, but boss man, what about me? Hey, what about who? Right? People are, right, so I'll try to wrap up in a minute. The whole thing, the whole world is headed in our direction. It just looks like it's not, that's all. It just looks like, it looks like ain't nothing happening. It looks, people are sad. Well, there's no sense of being sad for our movement, and definitely for me. No matter blunderbuss, that stuff, that was part of the trap. That was part of the trap. All of the things that happened to us was part of the, it was part of the trick. We've been with this down with this all along. We haven't missed not one turn. I saw one of our old things from 2011, I think it was. What did it say? I think it was the 16th, 4/11/16. Protracted struggle. Y'all probably remember this out here. Protracted struggle, that's number one. That means it's long range. Protracted struggle, somebody put this book, I've showed y'all this before, right downstairs. This is a wonderful book. This is the types of books I would love to read. This thing got the struggle back from guerrilla war from back in pre-Persian days, yeah. Yeah, that's when it, Darius bows to Syrian guerrillas, Alexander the Great tactics against the Asiatics. So evidently the Asiatics was given, that's why Alexander got on by, He didn't stop in Afghanistan like everybody else. He did stop for a minute, but he went on to India. Hannibal's victory over Alpine guerrillas, Rome, colonial wars, the War of Spartacus, Caesar, and somebody else. Okay, all the way back. They go back to Fabian, they go back to all these people. And it's a wonderful book. And it's true. They wanted us to go to become a military organization to fight a guerrilla warfare here in the United States. I said, I love this. So what I did, I just changed it. I said, you got to figure out, it's simple, what type of environment we living in. That's where psychological guerrilla warfare came in. I just took every principle they got down here, all through this whole book, and changed it to psychological. And it worked. It worked. All of a sudden, the Steve Emerson investigative project catches radical Islamic cleric on tape supporting terrorism. And he lays out, you can see the whole entire tape of Hannity program here. The whole Hannity tape made Hannity look like a fool, right? When Abdul Aleem Musa, when will Abdul Aleem Musa be arrested and charged with material support of terrorism? This is what they're saying. That's what they want to happen. Why did the Democratic Party invite somebody to give the DNC? They was mixing me up with somebody else. Okay. So I suspect we'll see much more of Musa's public statements in support of terrorism from IPT, somebody, and others in the near future. Transcript of Sean Connery with me. I called him a dummy, if y'all remember. I just said, hey man, you're a terrorist. You ought to be something like that. I said, you're a dummy. That's the exact words I used. I said, you're a dummy. So yeah, didn't you say you like George Bush? Yeah, I like George Bush. George Bush is a good man. I said, you's a fool. You's a dummy. Yeah, so he didn't like that, but it was too late. See, them people, just small-time psychology. But when they called me, first of all, I said, where did you get all this information? He said, well, Mr. Icy said that it would be okay to call you. I said, okay, fine. So they said, we'll get your train ticket, and we'll have somebody escort you over there. I said, is the escort a white woman from 25 to 35 years old? Yes, she is. I said, well, no, I do it without that. So I'll get down to the train station or wherever by myself. When I get to the train, there's the white girl. Now the white girl got them legs like, that wear the boots and they legs as tight on the boot as the white girl. I said, you sit over there. I'm sitting over here. And we sat on the other side of the train. She's supposed to escort. I said, escort her here. Sure. So they already getting antsy because we got a nigga with a white girl, and all niggas like white girls, especially healthy. You know, they done read books on which kind, you know, not no little petite, skinny white girl, but kind of this, you know, got a little meat on them, little, you know. So they done read all that. Them boys are scientific on everything they doing. So I get there, and as soon as Sean Hannity come, he says, I guess you're going to say something controversial. So I just said to myself, I said, sure, like what's the Palestinian professor down in Florida? Samuel Arian. You notice they got him that case. They got him that case. I said, sure. I said, it was so ridiculous that I said, boy, these are the dumbest white folks I ever seen in my life. If they think I'm going to come down here to New York and sit up here and, you know what I mean, we going to get you crackers. We going to, man, look at here. That's why we can beat them doing anything. Technically, they're dummies. And since they've been on top so long, you know, you get stupid, stupider and stupider. You get mean, but you get dumber. You get dumber. You know what I mean? You get dim-witted. Okay, how's America look now? Does it look intelligent and smart and streamlined, or does it look fat, stupid, and dim-witted? Does it have a policy of intellectual characteristics, or does it have a policy, a national and international policy of pure buffoonery? Who knows it? Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. Okay, so anyway, yeah.
The biggest news story from that conservative conference was a golden image of Donald Trump, and he had red, white, and blue shorts on and sandals. He was golden.
Right.
So the pushback was that this looks like what happened to the Jews during the time of Moses.
That was what I was saying.
So that was the whole news story. So it was like, this was a loss. They're going to be hemmed in at what they mock at.
No doubt about it.
It's exactly what you've been saying, but this is what we're seeing being played out right in front of our face.
That's what we have to give our people, the confidence that they got people that can figure this out already, and they go through a constant upgrade, that they continue to evolve. See, the reason that we did this is because they're killing everybody like this. The reason I know, because all of my friends is like this. They killing them. This is 68. By then, most of the people, by 69, most of the people was bumped. You know, only Chairman Fred, they had to get him. In 69, they shot up 69 finished up all the officers. Maybe a few got hit in 70, but that was all over. By 71, everything was closed down. Just that fast. Okay, so we had to be aware every diabolical scheme that they directed toward us, we evolved, we survived it, and then we evolved over it until we arrived where we are now. We are not victims anymore. We haven't been victims for years. We're not victims of the stuff that they're doing. They might be our victim by now, because we beaten them to death. They haven't hit us with nothing. Well, you can get hit, but it don't have no effect on you. Everything they doing, yes, it hits us. Oh, okay, so you don't have nobody to pay rent. You don't have nobody that hits you, but it ain't having no effect. In fact, it's spurring us on to do what before we even get paid in the courts. Before we even get paid in the courts for what they do. And if we don't get paid in the courts, we're not going to lose no sleep. In fact, it might help us because we'll definitely work harder. But imagine the good that we can do now, right now, traveling around the country. See, we did this before, but it was with the Muslims mainly. During that 40 years ago, we traveled all around the country. Okay, they didn't close that off to us, but if they try to close off the black colleges and everything, we'll just be out there passing it out, right? Somebody's going to say, why they won't let you talk in there? Or we're going to go to all the offices and present a package. This is our background. We would like to talk to, the students. We could do a little light course on it, for 3 or 4 days, one after another, or whatever you need or whatever you think would be helpful. But we're here to help. We're here to share what we have basically before it's too late. We're here to help, okay? And we'll mention that we're not Jesse Jackson. We're not Al Sharpton. We're not, what's wrong with them? I said, what do you mean, what's wrong with them? Huh? And then, I'm not going to say nothing about the black lady vice president because they may not be grown enough to handle that yet. And if it's colleges, they may be aspiring for that. But imagine the district attorney that they're going to put you in the penitentiary for your kids running around. That's her. That's dictadora, a female dictator. And they done just polished that child up, and you would think she was the queen of Cathay or the king of homogeneity and all of that. I saw on TV last night. I said, boy, that girl lies so bad. She's going to put everybody in jail 3-4 years ago for your kids running around as if you could do something to a 17-year-old, 260-pound Negro that don't want to go to school. Right? That ain't going to go to school and you got to go to jail or something, whatever she had hooked up. I said, that child is crazy. And now boy, they done done really spruce that child up. This is part of what we was made for. The attitude, the history. See, you got to remember, we haven't broken anything in the historical process. We haven't stolen nobody's money. We haven't run off with nobody's girlfriend. We haven't did nothing but what we tried to do, which has generally been good. So they might say that, but it won't make no difference. Pretty soon people will find out, or they will check, or we'll drag in 60,000 witnesses. I don't think there's that many alive anymore. But anyway, this is our time, and this is our mission, is to work with people. Otherwise, they won't have a chance. If we don't get to them quick, this thing is not, we always talk about longevity, but this thing is not acting like it's destined for longevity. In other words, there's a big piece of this wheel going to fall off. There's too many things going wrong. The whole ocean is going wrong. All the air is going wrong. The forests are dying for a zillion reasons, but they're dying. In fact, it's not anything working right. The oceans is getting filled up, the fish are dying, species are being wiped out. So this is our time. I don't want to take too long, but this is from over 10 years ago. This is from 2011. Together we must develop a plan of action and work with missionary zeal to bring about and play a role in the earth liberation movement. Now, we've been saying this for decades. Even the article in the newspaper was saying we want to work with, okay, now it's the time. Just think of it, now is the time. We got the focus, we got the energy, we're ready to go. It don't make no difference what they do around us, because it's just like before. When you're on a roll, you're just on a roll. It don't make no difference what they do. And everything they do to you makes it bigger. Suppose they do this, that just makes it more popular, right? Because you got to remember, we're not in this for no self-benefit, just the perpetual movement of the movement, which aims to free the earth from the parasitical behavior of man, establish a non-predatory system of interconnected global harmony. They don't think niggas can even talk like that. Nurture and further a culture of earth-first custodianship. Understand and respect the rights of the earth, which it should be treated as a living organism, which it is. And envision and actualize global redesign for the 21st century. That's where we're at. And this is this is 2011. Man, that's 10 years ago. For a lot of people, 10 years ago is a long time. For us, 10 years ago is last week or so. That's what it feels like. Okay. Radical Islamic group tries to branch out. Oh, this is Steve again. I'll just read a little bit about that. For 30 years, Masjid al-Islam As-Sabiqun Mosque has been carrying on a direct face-to-face struggle against the monolithic Zionist American regime, Abdul Ali Musa said in an urgent appeal to support the new Islamic Institute of Counter-Zionist American Psychological Warfare. We sent them a thank you note. Yeah, this is close to exactly what we said. Just a few more words. We are an anti-Zionist American psycho-guerrilla warfare movement, the appeal said. We use all available tools found in our environment in exposing the anti-Islamic and anti-human policies of this Zionist American system. Thank y'all very much. Thank you very much. Thank you, right? This is as close to what we said. And they're saying it because what they people hear is, oh, it's bad. But they don't realize 25% of the people monitoring Zionists are Muslims. And they said, this nigga said, what? Other flyers explain that the Islamic Institute for Counter-Zionist Psychological is primary to counter the concerted effort of the enemies of Islam to sustain a false characterization of Islam and Muslims and a dangerous threat to global stability and tranquility. That mission has already led As-Sabiqun to deny the involvement of Islamic terrorists, now they acting fool, in 9/11. So we've denied that publicly. And to characterize the acts of Hamas and Hezbollah as a justified war on Jews, on Zionists. They just put Jews here. The Institute is the group's primary project to keep its movement going after the loss of several branches in California. Loss of several branches or the theft of several branches. You see what I mean? Whatever it is, somebody's paying attention to what's going on. And why do they know? Because they're the ones that did it, right? And we ain't jumping up and down and saying, oh, that's terrible. We're saying, thank you very much. Thank y'all very much. See, a revolutionary organization has to know what's good for it and what's bad for it. Okay, if we tickle them and make them mad and they shoot off at the mouth, that's what's good for Zionists. But other people that you're really working on, they're watching that. And when they say this sounds great to our people. It's they doing what? They talking out the side of their mouth too, and they ain't scared. You know, just like when we did that program down at this was a long time ago. This was October something or other, maybe even the 31st, 2001. 2001. Down at the press thing. Everybody was watching that. And so Muhammad al-Assi was talking, the Arabs was watching it very well. And so one of the Arab sisters said to her husband, who was an imam, shouldn't we be doing that too? In other words, because remember now, what we're saying, we're not talking to those crazy people. We're talking to our people. And we hitting home all the time. Okay? Now suppose it's not that we passed up or we forgot all of this stuff. It's not that we passed up or we forgot. But now's the time to use it. You see what I mean? Oh, what did that? Nothing happened? No, not a thing. Did the police know? Yeah, they know. They filed a thing with them. See, if we have the history when all of these people on there, except our brother right there in the corner, he's a professor from Scotland, Yaqub Zaki. Says here Britland, but he was at the university in Scotland. I mean, talking about European history and what have you. You could just do him like you do me, punch one button and it just keep rolling on out. I mean, clearly what it is. So he was from Scotland. That question I asked him, I said, they just got a movie out about, what is the one? William Wallace. When you read this, if you can find it, it says exactly the same thing, word for word. It's just a short article with William. So I asked him about William Wallace and the Bruce and this and that, and he corrected and put it in perfect order. You know, but anyway, everybody on here, him and me is the only ones that was saying there's some funny stuff going on around here. He was mad at Crescent. When we was in Cape Town, he was loud talking because I was walking with one of the brothers and he was walking with another one. We was there on different programs, but he was there. He was talking so loud, he knew I could hear him. He was talking to me. He hated what was going on with Crescent. But I wasn't ready to move. I knew he was right 100%. But if you move too fast, move too late, you'll tip everybody off. You know what I mean? So you have to have timing. No, it's like this stuff right here. Islamic Institute for Counter-Zionist American Psychological Warfare. What would we do? We have a little dinner, right up there on 8th Street. No sweat. And they write all of this. Same thing in California. We didn't run around doing nothing. All we did was have a nice little dinner. 10 to 20 people come, maximum. Because by that time, the masjid was acting funny. And pretty soon, it's on the internet with 375,000 people reading it. And if only 100,000 of them is reading it, that's enough. Everybody knows who we are. Everybody. They just don't, they're not built for this. Yeah. When y'all was up there in Philadelphia, right? And passed out, everybody was fiending off of, yeah, man. You got any more of them? Yeah, that's the first question they ask. No, I don't think he ain't gonna be speaking? What them other niggas gonna be doing up there then, right? Tell the truth. We didn't, that's what psychological war, we've been doing that all along. That's why we're not tired or nothing. We ain't gonna be jumping out in a panic. Oh, we gotta save the world. Don't worry, the world gets saved. It's been here a long time. It might be here a little longer. We're gonna do our part, just like we do right around here. You wouldn't think nothing was going on. We're just cruising down to the house, cruising back here, cruising over the run on the trail, right? Cruising back, lifting little weights and just cruising along. Right? And when we have these, we're just cruising along. It ain't no sweat. Right? That's what they can't stand. Because when they push a button, they want you to move. And they push it again, and you just keep looking all up in the air like, yeah, what's going on? Then they lose their focus. That's what psychological guerrilla warfare is. Yeah, when you get them to move out of sync with their plans, and when their plans don't work on you, works on everybody but us. When you threaten people with the loss of property, of wealth, and family and all of that, they get panicked and they get to running around and they bump their head up against this door and that door. And with us, all we do is sit here and forecast. Okay, I'll read one more. As part of its ideology, As-Sabiqun and Islamic, whatever we call it, are also actively preparing for the death of the United States. Haven't died totally yet. But it's the laughing stock of the world. The Thors of death. As-Sabiqun, which is currently runs 2 active mosques in D.C. and Oakland, espouses a self-reliant and anti-assimilation ideology. I think they're a little lying here a little bit. That appeals to its community of poor African-American converts. I think our community is pretty well educated. I don't know what to say. I know we had the best school that people had. All our kids, didn't they go to the big universities?
I don't think the people were poor at all.
Here? Hey, okay, remember, that's what they want people to think. It's okay, because people come in, if they go and they see the cars, people be driving to Juma, Boy, they ain't that poor, look like. It seems that the once all-powerful USA could suffer a global stroke sometime during the 2020s or even sooner, said a flyer promoting the Islamic Institute for Counter-Zionist American Psychological Warfare event called The Decline and Fall of the American Empire. Good God Almighty. I could read more. But are they right or are we right? That's all it says. Radical Islamic group tries to branch out. We're not trying to branch out. We put out a few flyers and have a little nice dinner and talk trash. And they do the rest, right? They do the rest. You got to remember, it don't even take a brain to figure you would be working yourself to death for nothing. Why? Because nobody comes here, right? Nobody's going to come here. Nobody has been coming here. All the people that left here left over 10 years ago. Something like that. A few come around now. So what would we do? Go, hey, why y'all leave? What happened, brothers? What did we do? Like you did something. So you feel like going? Go ahead. So all you have to do is just develop these. Just develop these. And everybody will know what you're talking about. Like nobody is not knowing. It don't make no difference if there's a zillion people over there in the Negro, whatever they are, I don't know, is it Monroe? Wherever they are. One thing you don't have to worry about, ain't nothing happening over there. And everybody know more about you than they do about them, because it's their job to stay away from you. Why? They will either be orientated why or told why. And they're going to give them the whole story. Why you're bad for them, right? And the one that have a heart at all, which maybe none of them do, but they're going to all know the story. You don't have to tell them. Tell the truth. Do we have to do any dawah here about Masjid al-Islam and what we stand for in D.C.? Absolutely not. Everybody knows. Why can everybody knows? That means that we're using the tools at our disposal. Their tools. We're going to use the same thing in a different way at all our black universities, because there is a time when, as Chairman Mao said, one spark can start a prairie fire. There's a time when if you say the right thing and do the right thing, the wind will carry it everywhere you want to go. So that's what's happening right now. The people we've chosen, young black people, this mind is still fresh. Before it's destroyed or scrubbed clean of all possibilities, we'll explain to them what's been happening, that's all. Yeah, we'll explain to them what's been happening. Then they'll be able to see. Just imagine how nice that will be, that we get an opportunity to explain to our youth what's been happening. They listen, it's fine. If they don't, it's fine. The thing is that they will have an opportunity. And if they don't believe it, after a while, they will. And when we link up whatever they did to this person and that person, and the correlation with that and what we've been talking about, they can't help but, this is a good time. That's why we always wait for our time to do what we want to do. And so far, we've discombobulated Bossman. Yes, he's discombobulated. who would have believed that America would be where it is now? Just think, with Donald Trump and what have you, was he sent by Allah, or did he just stumble up here to say the exact wrong thing exactly at the wrong time? And to tie America up where America has lost all its credibility, and they're saying, why would he do that to his own country, right? Because Allah sent him to do that. You know what I mean? Donald Trump don't control nothing. Donald Trump is a motor-mouthed man that just don't have the understanding. And it don't make no difference whether they all join together and hold hands. We're going out to reach to our people of color, and a little sprinkle. Look, this place has mismanaged it so much that they can't get nobody but a knuckle-headed dummy to follow them. All the kids know that the water is not clean. They can't go swimming on the beach. Something is wrong. Right? Something's wrong. The beach, there's a beach. You can't go on the beach. Right? You can't go on the beach? Nope. You do, you'd be stung to death with that. What's going to sting me? Water. Right? Right? So the message, and I'll close with this. Remember, this message has been structured and organized for decades. The same message. It's just this is the time to implement it. That's one of the things is timing. It's timing. This is the time to implement it. And when you do things as there's nothing they can do about it. And they're the ones that's done wrong on everything. They done assaulted us. They done stole our property. They done so much wrong. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. So anyway, are there any questions or there is any comments about anything?
Brother asked, did you know Bobby Seals?
I know Bobby Seals, but in passing. Yeah, he's not, I knew Huey. In fact, I got flyers around here with Huey, and I knew Huey better than Bobby Seals. See, our main office, our main spot on 73rd Avenue and East 14th, if you have the Black Panther office here, they had Jerry's Pawn Shop right here, then they had an alley. When you walk back into our place back here, we could go right out of this window, our back window, into the back window of the Black Panther Party. And when you see the dress and outfits of everybody, which they're disappearing fast, I'll have to hustle up some when I get to Oakland from some old friends. Everybody, yeah. So anyway, Bobby Seals, no, I didn't. In fact, at one time, Bobby Seals was getting real bad treatment from Huey. Because remember, Huey was acting a fool. And he had them. Huey killed a black girl. And Huey did so much stuff, it's like he went crazy. And I told him that before I told him several years before, because in 1970, when he got out of CMC East or CMC West, it's a penitentiary. He came out, he was on the back of a truck I said, that man went crazy, because he wasn't studying, and he was with the niggers. The niggers turned him into a nigger. When he went in, he was a revolutionary. When he came out puro negro, pure nigger, straight up, all the way, with no human characteristics left. The white man did a job on him. And he didn't come out good. And the niggers, instead of him turning them out to movement, they turned him into a nigger. He came out, and so one thing I do remember is that he was treating Bobby Seale pretty bad because Huey at that time had the reins of the party. They was doing everything, shaking down liquor stores, you gotta pay us, you know. Man, it was sad. So when I got to over here, I said, man, the party is going crazy. I got over there in 71. I said, hey, man, if anything good gonna happen, y'all gonna do it. That's why I went over there. I said, I go over there, at least I go over there and rescue him. Shoot, it was harder to rescue him than it was to shoot. They was over there messing with Muslim women. Boy, them boys was tripping. They was tripping. And you know what? They didn't even know what they was doing. They didn't even know that lady has niqab on. That lady has a mini dress. That lady that has that mini dress on, Parastyle, has the same mentality, and she's gonna act like the same one. In fact, the one got the mini dress may have more modesty than the one with the niqab. You know, they're all Muslims. And I used to, boy, I'd be on, say, hey man, these girls over here. And then you try to make a move, they look at you like you're crazy. I said, well, maybe it's, that's the way it is. So when I told them that, I said, man, no. Man, these girls over here, you get you one of them ones that had that old stuff on their face. I actually said, I said, you niggas is going, y'all gonna be in trouble. I said, I didn't say I don't know much about Islam, which I didn't, but I know that has a meaning. They wear that for a reason. And just like when I come back the next time, Pete say, man, pussy got us put out of Algeria. Vagina got the whole movement, wiped out the whole movement. Vagina. Nobody was training for a revolution because I come over there with all that militancy and I'm ready to run up and down a beach and we're going to go back and take over America. We're going to make all our money in the world and we're going to fix that white man. They looked at me like I was, that's what Pete told me. He said, you think the people want to go back to America? I said, yeah, I want to go back. What he was trying to tell me was, my friends here, us, we ain't even thinking about that. We're not even thinking about, we're going to go back and take over America and make it a good, plus, you know how many officers of ours got shot up, blowed up, right? And the death list was getting longer. So anyway, any more questions or comments?
Yeah, another question. Brother asked, what do you feel on the attack in Syria? Was it just to please Israel?
The U.S. attack?
Yeah, even the U.S.
The U.S. attack.
I'm sorry, attack Syria. But what do you feel about the attack in Syria? Was it just to please Israel?
Okay. The Israelis, Hezbollah, Syria, Iran, Iraq, they have a real serious, and also Yemen, there's serious things going on there. All of them are headed in our way directly. One, Iran is not going to let them drag them with the Israelis in a war till they get ready. Okay? Hezbollah is the same. But you got to keep the reins on Hezbollah more because they more ready to take out the Israelis. But Netanyahu would love to have more conflict, because the more conflict, the harder it is for them to drop that JPO, whatever it is. You know what I mean? And that's what the Iranians are focused on now. But their focus is on the election coming up soon. And believe it or not, who do you think is the number one possible candidate? That's what they say over there. That's what the news says. Yeah. If he gets permission from the Rahbar, now last time, the Rahbar was always headed in his direction. But that the Sweetie Pie brothers, which have been working with the white man against me badly, I mean, it's terrible, but that's okay, no problem. It's a little too late for them. The so-called hardliners, and they put us in that hardliner crew, It's all right. We're not a hardliner crew. We just know America better than they do, but they're catching up fast. They're not making this. For a foreign country, if you take Iran, China, and even Russia, they've always dealt with them, they've always boxed with them real good. But Iran has less than Russia or China, but it's boxing very good. And the people have, one of our friends that's in the ministry, they were sending a delegation to Syria, and they told him to stay there and take care of, who was the little lady, the little Jewish lady? Huh? Medea Benjamin. Take care of them. That's your home folks. He got so mad, he said, I'm going to quit. And they said, oh, don't quit. You ain't that bad. But that's the way that you got to remember, when a country goes into a downfall, they go fast, and they do the exact people that's trying to help them, they slap them around and make a fool out of them. Like right now, they should run in there with that jail and just give them everything they want so they can come out with a big smile. Right now, they're blaming, whatever his name is, Rouhani and others for everything. You wanted it? Now you got it. You pleaded with the Rahbar, you knocked on every door, let us try this. Okay, you tried it. Goodbye for y'all. Yeah, so anyway, just in brief, if we would go back to the strategic alliance, Iran, Iraq, Syria, might as well put Lebanon in there because the Hezbollah. But the wars in Yemen, even Qatar has been swimming around in some strange, not harmful ways, Okay. This situation now for the Muslims, or for our team, if we were to say it like that, is so much better. Can you imagine that 40 years ago you had to fight the whole U.S. by yourself? And the only one that was even sneaking around being friendly was Syria. Okay, now, if you look at it, if you were to be talking about our team and their team, our team can be patient, because if you have power and strength, you can be patient. If you got to prove yourself, you might make some mistakes. Iran ain't in no hurry. And those isolation and those sanctions have produced the most dynamic country, the most productive country in the whole region. It's almost like keep them on a little while longer because they get better with them. Yeah, keep them a little longer. Although now they're at the point that if they get the sanctions off, they done got so much stuff. This is in everything, agriculture. You just see the tomatoes, the greenhouses that they have in Iran now. You just see the highway system, that the Jihad Sazandegi, the dams that they've produced, right? All of this stuff. PR is on a roll. Their PR is super, with the police sitting right at the PR station. Yeah. You remember Murcia. I got lumps all over my head, right? And they ain't saying nothing about poor Musa. And it's not bad. Remember, when you do right, right gonna come back for you when it's the right time and in the right way. Okay. So with all of these challenges and can you imagine, there's nobody in the United States that's doing like we're doing, and we're on crutches. We're on crutches. And if you had to find somebody that's saying the right moves to make at this time, who would it be? Us. And we ain't losing no sleep. It don't make no difference what they do. That has a lot to do with confidence. I'm not going to brag, but we done studied Boss Man and we've studied ourselves. Know yourself, know your enemy. 1,000 battles, 1,000. We've studied that. And we're sitting right next to the Quran and Hadith. And some people are certain ways. Well, everybody have certain characteristics in them. All I can say is it would sound bragging, and I'm not going to say it. But we don't want nobody's house, girlfriend, money, or nothing. We just don't want it. We don't even want it. We don't want to be on the sissy platform. I wouldn't want to be able to say, you want to be on the sissy platform? Hell no. I don't want to be up there with those bums. The bums, they sell their people. Can you imagine? They sell their people out every day. For what? They're going to die. They can't take that little money with them. And they're not enjoying. I don't believe they're as happy as I am. The tattletales, the stooges. I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. I don't believe they're as happy as I am. That sounds kind of, not arrogant. I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. I don't believe it at all. I don't believe it. I don't believe it at all. I don't believe that none of the people that was here and left, I don't believe none of the people that was in Oakland and left all in mass. You got to remember, everybody, we got masajid full of peoples. And all of a sudden, they pack up and leave. You think I was going to go, where you going? Don't go. See you later. I meant it then, and I meant it now. So anyway, any more questions or comments?
No, that's everything.
Okay, alhamdulillah, I didn't mean to talk so long. No, we're in a good, no, you can turn it off. We're in a good stage right